Whichever way you want to spin it, there is no denying Newcastle United had a shocking summer transfer window. I'm going to try and look at both sides from a logistical, logical, sensible point of view, but it's going to be tricky. Yeah, tricky one. Welcome back to Newcastle Fans TV. As always, before we start, like and subscribe, blah, blah, blah. You know the picture by now. Difficult one to go through, really. There's no two ways about it. We've had a shocker. We've had an absolutely appalling transfer window. To go with no signings as well in January, it's hard to fathom. It really is, because the money is there despite this PSR, which obviously headlined the end of June with, I'm trying to think of another word other than dodgy, a deal which suited both Newcastle and Nottingham Forest with Elliot Anderson and Odysseus Vlachodimos. A goalkeeper who Eddie Howe doesn't want, has no intention of playing. If you believe the rumours online that they were trying to loan him out, because we now have 5 goalkeepers, and we were still interested in James Trafford, and Mamardashvili, that ship has well and truly sailed with him, doing a deal with Liverpool with a loan back at Valencia for this upcoming season. It's just an absolute shit show, isn't it? There has to be some collective responsibility taken from top down to Eddie Howe, really. Darren Eales, running the show now, he has to bear the brunt of frustrations, I think. I don't think he'll be at the Stack drinking a beer and leading fan songs in the Stack tomorrow, but I kind of hope he is. Does he have the balls to do it? If he does, how will the response be from fans? Because questions need to be asked. It's okay to ask questions as well. Yes, it's not the Mike Ashley era anymore, and we're all very grateful. But, Amanda and Murdad have gone. Eales is in charge. Dan Ashworth is now gone. We've got Paul Mitchell in, who obviously only really was present during the Asula deal. Was that a deal to appease Eddie Howe, because as Jason Tyndall mentioned, that he's a player that they've been tracking for some time now. No senior goal in the Premier League. Still looks very raw. Will he make it? That's down to Eddie Howe, which is where he plies his trade, which is where his main attributes and strengths are. Eddie Howe working with players on the training ground, improving players, getting the best out of them. That's going to be a tall order, because he won't get many minutes at least, behind Isak and Wilson, if and when fit. But pre-Mitchell, we brought in the goalkeepers, as we know, Ruddy and Vlachodimos. Lewis Hall was made permanent. £28 million we've paid Chelsea this summer for Lewis Hall. Not the finished article yet either. Bounds and bounds of potential has Lewis Hall, but still smoothing out some rough areas of his game still. In and out of the side so far, done okay in parts, done not so well in others. So, it's a long-term thing with Lewis Hall, and, still right behind the lad. But, 28 million, what do you think of that fee? Let me know in the comments. And Lloyd Kelly, who could be on a pretty penny as well, apparently, again, if you believe the internet. That was done pre-Paul Mitchell. Now, the whole farce regarding a centre-back, Malik Thiaw, Mark Gahey, who I don't really understand it now from Crystal Palace's point of view, because yes, they brought in Trevor Chalobah on loan late last night. Keep moving the goalposts, 5 million here, 5 million there. To be honest, I said in a video last week or whatever, I don't blame them, and I don't, but they're in a position now where he kind of has to sign a new contract for them to command that sort of fee going forward. Will Gahey do that? Yes, he's got a fantastic personality and didn't kick up a fuss as many thought he wouldn't. But will he go and sit down and sign a new deal? I'm not so sure. The money has been there. We went to try and break Elise's release clause. Of course, he chose Bayern Munich. The money was there for Gahey. The money was there for Simikan, but if a Saudi team comes in and offers him £1 million tax-free a week, you're not going to be able to compete with that, takeover or no takeover. And the fact is, people still say that, that they can loan him back to us, that we can buy with Saudi money. Yes, but Newcastle United have to be squeaky clean when it comes to any sort of deal with Saudi teams, and it's not going to happen. The powers that be are waiting with swords and daggers for Newcastle to kind of make one bit of a business error, and they will jump on us and punish us to the fullest effect. We know this, and Newcastle are poor sellers as well. We know this from the fee we commanded for Alan St Maximin last summer. It was way too cheap. The fees we've got I say the fees. Yes, the fees we got for Elliot Anderson was probably more than we were expecting, but that was because we probably paid more than what we should have done for Vlachodimos. Anything is more because we didn't want him. We're never going to use him. Minter is the one that will come back and bite us on the behind eventually. He probably wouldn't have got into our first team this season, and yet he strolls into Brighton's first team and he's doing okay. Yes, he's still a bit raw, but and his end product needs a little bit of work. But Murphy and Miggy, do we need to talk about end product when it comes to them pair? For a third season in a row now, we're going in with those two as our right wingers. Yes, they have their purple patches. Yes, they have their moments. Yes, I love Jacob Murphy to bits, but are they good enough to be consistent Premier League performers? No. Let's face the harsh reality. No, they're not. Not for where we're trying to be regular European contenders. Well, not contenders, participants, let's face it. It's so annoying. And the fact is that, they made a big deal of Eales doing a big interview, Mitchell doing a big interview, Bunce has done a big interview, Howe did a big interview, which set alarm bells ringing. That England job is still there, by the way, in the background. It's Carsley's to lose. Yes, it is. And by the way, congratulations to Tino Livramento, thoroughly well deserved. But again, we shouldn't have been we shouldn't be entertaining the idea of letting Trippier go yet. He's still needed. Lloyd Kelly was brought in to replace Paul Dummett. We've lost Matt Ritchie, who was probably more important off the pitch than he was on the pitch. And all of a sudden, our leadership group, there's a lot of changes there, a lot of changes off the pitch. And it all spells to uncertainty, discontent, and just an absolute circus. And Darren Eales needs to put the pint glass down and stop trying to get pally with fans, because that's happened before with a fat rich man and it didn't end well, did it? With the risk of sounding like Roy Keane, do your job and people will love you. But at the moment, the job's not being done in any way, shape or form. You can blame Howe about being very picky. Yes, you should be picky, but I don't believe for 1 second that Gehi was the be-all and end-all. Not for 1 second. He's not stupid. I mean, Eddie Howe, maybe player recruitment isn't his strong suit, because we know his strong suit is being a head coach. And he's been fantastic for us since coming in. Amazing for us. Brilliant. Superb. Has he been backed in this window? Not one bit. And it's him that's left to pick up the pieces. He's the fall guy. He's the one that has to face the media every week, sometimes twice a week. He's the one that has to bear the frustrations of the crowd if ever the atmosphere does turn. It's not Howe's fault. We haven't started the season well despite being unbeaten. The performances on the pitch have been rickety at best. And, we've got Spurs tomorrow, and any result would not surprise me. We could blast them away like we've done the past 2 seasons at home, which have been great days. Would it surprise me to see Spurs turn up and roll us over? Not one bit. Not one bit at all. It wouldn't surprise me to see Spurs turn us over and beat us convincingly. It would not surprise me one bit. I hope it doesn't, because I'm at the game tomorrow with my son. So it's a long day ahead, a 7-hour round trip in the car as per. But you can't deny it's been an absolute disaster, whatever kind of positive spin you want to put on it. No major signing, really, in 2 transfer windows. And we don't command a marquee signing every transfer window. We don't. I think a lot of people would have been really happy if we'd have spent 20, 25 million on a centre-back, leaving the rest for a winger, instead of blasting 70+ mil on Mark Gehi, which didn't even happen anyway. it's so frustrating, and it's hard to break this one down and kind of be and kind of look at the bigger picture, because yes, we have to sell Ryan Fraser going on a free, not even to get like 500k or £1 million for Ryan Fraser's poor. Yes, Hendrick's off the book. We couldn't sell Jamal Lewis. God knows what's going on with Isaac Hayden. It's just a never-ending spiral of shit. It really is. And I know the players we're trying to sell aren't great, but it's a risk, because if we're sat here in 12 months' time having not secured European football again, can you honestly expect us to keep Bruno, to keep Isaac, to keep Gordon? And by the way, another one for Darren Eales and Paul Mitchell. Where are these supposed new contracts for Gordon and Isak? Where? They've had all summer. It's poor. It's really, really, really poor. And it's left for Eddie Howe to pick up the pieces and try and make something. For me, you can kiss top 4-5 goodbye. That ain't happening. Not for me. And if we stay injury-free, you might have a squeak at getting Europe. But Howe's got such a tough job on his hands now. It's going to be a mishmash. We need big performances for individual players, and it's going to have to be a collective effort on top of that to get the best out of our star players. But I don't know. I'm not sure. Where does it leave you? How do you feel? Do you think the atmosphere could turn at St James's Park? I don't think so, because I think we'll stick with Eddie and the boys, because they're the ones that actually deserve it and need the support. But let me know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe as always, and stay tuned to NFTV.